Bad news first. Sadly, the one-card combo dies to one Imperm. Now to the good news, we have a lot of combinations that completely invalidates the use of Imperm against us. Welcome to another episode of the Yubel Academy. This is a video series where I go over different situations and cards and what you can do against those situations and cards with Yubel. So if you want to learn Yubel or how to play against it better, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes. Imperm or target negation in general is a highly requested topic and it's kinda surprising but at the same time understandable, since if you only open the one-card combo, Imperm can be very devastating. We have two prime targets for Imperm, one is Samsara and the other one is Spirit of Yubel. Sadly, we are not super heavy samurai or math mech. We can't play through more than one interruption with only a one-card starter. Still, more often than not, we can punish an Imperm against Samsara or Spirit quite heavily. But before I get to that, I will show you what happens if you only open one card to play and your opponent opens an Impermanence. You normal Samsara and your opponent thinks to himself, well, that's a one-card combo and unlike Mirror Swords Knight, it's not a quick effect, so I'm just going to use my only hand trap, the Impermanence on it. And just like that, if you don't have any other thing to play, the turn is skipped, but that's highly unrealistic because we have so many cards that completely punishes the play the opponent just did. I do want to clarify one thing though, it's not a bad thing by design and I would say even completely normal that the one-card combo in Yu-Gi-Oh! Loses to one interruption. One of the strongest decks currently running around, being Snake Eyes or Snake Eyes Fire King. They are notorious for having multiple one-card combos and each one of them loses to one hand trap. But if you have played against Snake Eyes, you know if you throw a hand trap and they can extend, your hand trap basically did nothing. It's kinda the same with the Yubel deck. Same scenario now, but instead of having nothing, we have one another way to play. And with the additional extender, we can completely render the Imperm used against us useless. We simply activate Spirit Gates to add one Dark Beckoning Beast, and we don't have an additional normal summon, but we can instead link away the Samsara into Mirage. So we have a target for Spirit Gates in the graveyard, and we activate Spirit Gates now by discarding any card to reborn the Samsara. And now you basically have full combo through an Imperm. Since Samsara tributes itself for cost, your opponent has to throw the Imperm on summon, which means any extender that can potentially bring Lotus back is full combo. I don't think that happens often, but let's just say your opponent has Imperm, but he for whatever reason doesn't want to Imperm Lotus. Instead, he wants to wait for Spirit, what I do not understand since Spirit is way harder to out and one extender still plays through it, but just in theory. So we summon Spirit and the opponent, with the quickness, on summon Imperms her. The reason why I think using Imperm on Spirit is bad is that basically any extender still invalidates the Imperm completely, but if not, we have instead of one Samsara, a way harder monster to out on the field. I do not know why anyone would Imperm Spirit, to be honest. We have a few cards in our deck that helps us push through one Imperm on Spirit, but the most punishing is by far Infernal Grave. Let's just say again, the opponent uses the Imperm on Spirit's effect. Now you can actually chain Infernal Grave. Since we have a Fiend monster on the field, we can special summon him, and if you know his effect, he actually has one secret effect more or less, where you can pop one monster that mentions Yubel or is Yubel immediately after the summon, which is insane because now you can actually dodge the Imperm and now everything resolves. You basically have full combo through that. It's insane that your opponent basically just threw a card from his hand to the graveyard. The other option that hard punishes Imperm is of course by just having Nightmare Pain in hand, because if you do that, the Imperm also did completely nothing. You can still activate Nightmare Pain, and since Spirit's float effect activates in the graveyard, it means Imperm isn't negating her anymore. You still just search Infernal Grave, Spirit chaining 1 and Field Spell chaining 2 and you have basically again full combo. I do think that Yubel shares a lot of similarities with Unchained. Back then with Unchained it was kinda the same. Either the Imperm skipped the turn, or one extender completely invalidated the Imperm. Because of the high risk, players actually held the Imperm to combat Unchained's endboard. Maybe it's the same for Yubel. Maybe it's better to just hold the Imperm to trade 1 for 1 on the endboard than taking the risk to basically -1ing yourself. To cut things short, I do think Impermanence is really ineffective against us and we can play quite well around or through it, which is a good thing. Tomorrow I will be opening Legacy and I just can't wait. I'm so fucking hyped. And I hope you are too. I wish you good luck if you decide to open Legacy. See ya.